FanDuel TV's Kentucky Derby week coverage is presented by Spendthrift Farm.
Welcome back. A light rain? A light rain? We've got April showers here, but the May flowers we're expecting this week are lilies and roses. Welcome back to Churchill Downs as breakfast at the Derby continues, rain or shine. So some moisture in the racetrack this evening. Trainers looking on to see just exactly what kind of a trek. Dan Ward, move out of the way. That's Todd Fletcher behind you. Just let him get a spot at the rail because Renegade's coming out. And we're going to take a look at Renegade again this morning. Todd Fletcher looking for his third Kentucky Derby victory, but his first for owner Mike Rapoli. And as Renegade, the morning line favorite, makes his way onto the track, we're going to take a closer look at his new Nikes. That's right. It's all about footwear here on the Breakfast Show. And though feet may not be appetizing, perhaps the price you'll get on the Bluegrass winner, Further Ado, will be come post time. 6-1 on the morning line. Further Ado out on track with his stablemate as well. And we'll take a look at his final gallops and preparations for the Run for the Roses. The Puma, named after Gustavo Delgado, one of the greatest trainers in Venezuelan history, an excellent record here at the Kentucky Derby, 5 starters in 10 years with a win. Is this the horse that gets him his next victory on a first Saturday in May? The rain has stopped, but the works are just about to start. Welcome to another edition of Breakfast at the Derby. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Churchill Downs. A little soggy morning here in Louisville, Kentucky, but the track is open for training as usual, and the renovation's about to begin. We'll see the Derby and Oaks contenders with their special training 15 minutes in just a few moments. Back here on the set, Mike Joyce, Simon Bray, Joe Talamo in a high chair. We're going to be bringing you all the action here that we have with the second to last day of this breakfast show. We're going to talk about feet and shoes. You have a lot of experiences at a trainer. And then we're going to talk about the bubble wrapping process, trying to keep them. We saw you yesterday, Joe, talking about what they're doing in the gallops, trying to keep these horses restrained, and then the tension from now until Derby Day.
Yeah, I mean, Derby's pretty close out. The worst thing you could do is too much, especially whether it's gallops or what have you. So a lot of jogging. Horses are going to be galloping, but nothing too crazy this week.
Good thing about the rain and the weather, you saw at the beginning of the show here, the rain was coming down. That has ceased behind us. You can see it's starting to dry out. The rain has come at a perfect time. It came after all the major works at the weekend, came when a lot of these horses were jogging or walking, and it came overnight. The track still looks good. From here on out, apparently the forecast is dry through the weekend. Maybe a chance of a light sprinkle, but it's not going to affect the surface.
Don't forget the words of the late, great Charlie Whittingham. Racetracks are like whiskey. They're better with just a little bit of water in them. You can see the fans are still here. Rain will not deter the people coming to see the breakfast, or Dawn at the Downs, I should say. I'll call it our live studio audience here for the breakfast show. Here's a look at that weather. So it's raining today, sunny tomorrow. It's going to be nice this weekend, but it's going to be a little chilly.
Yeah, that's optimistic, 62 on Saturday. And don't forget the Oaks is at night, so that's the high. And we're running the Oaks at 8:40 p.m. post time, so Eastern time. So, yeah, it's going to be a little cooler, but, you know, nothing that nobody can handle. And
52 during Oaks, I'll
yeah, that's all right. That's not too bad.
That's going to be tough for Joe because he has no body fat. Still makes weight. Here's a look at those live odds for the Kentucky Derby. And Renegade, like the morning line said, he is the favorite. Go Further Ado, also at 5-1. A lot of money coming in for the Puma.
I was going to say the Puma's taking a lot of money at 6-1. So happy, too, at 7-1.
Puma's getting a lot of traction on social media. Obviously, you know, Michael Ivarone, high-profile guy, likes to be out there. He's tweeting about it, talking about it. Garners a lot of attention. They spread the word, and you know, this is the type of race where somebody that has a big following on a social media or nationally, it's going to affect the odds. We saw it with my racehorse horses. We saw it with Griffin Johnson last year with Sandman. It happens.
Yeah, it'll affect the odds right now where there's 300,000 in the pool.
Yeah.
We only have about $85 million to go.
Yep.
So that market is what they would call far from settled. We'll settle this here on the show. It can't just be Joe, Simon, and I, although we don't shut up. we do employ some reporters to go around and actually get information that you want to hear. Let's take a look at who we have here today. We've got, of course, Andy B. Ancone, Caton Bradar, but we start with Scott Hazelton, who has protected himself from the elements.
Doing my best, Michael. We're over here at the Lucas Gap. I was positioning myself over here, hoping to see perhaps Wonder Dean and Dan Bourbon do what they did yesterday, but nobody's on the track right now, and I think a large part of that is the fact that, first of all, the track is closed, even though those Japanese horses were out on the track during the break over in the chute, but nobody's here. They've got the starting gate for some schooling set up, but also the announcement that was made when we arrived here on the track, and I'm just trying to get a glance over my shoulder because I do see the John Deeres coming in my direction. They made the announcement that they are sealing the track. So they are currently sealing the track for the continuation of training for these Derby horses. And as we go over to Caton Bradar, Caton, I would imagine that trainers anticipated this happening with the potential of them sealing the track during this break, and that's maybe why we saw some of those yellow and pink saddlecloths out there earlier this morning prior to the Derby window.
Yeah, Scott, the forecast is for more rain before the morning is over, so hence the sealing of the track to prepare for that. Now, in the meantime, a lot of trainers switching it up so far as their training routine and what they had scheduled. For example, I'm here at Brad Cox's barn, and Brad originally had planned on maybe training a little bit later and taking his horses and schooling them in the gate. He's going to push that back as far as any schooling is concerned, but he remained consistent in sending horses to the track early among the first set. Right over my shoulder, further ado, is finishing up before he goes in back to his stall. He actually was the first of the Brad Cox horses to go out to the track, and that is a change. I believe he's been training a little bit more forwardly. So yesterday, Brad had sent him to the track right before the Derby break as the last horse to hit the track when it was quiet. Today, he was among the first horses to hit the track, again, when it was just a little bit more quiet and the track was in great shape with very few horses training over it. He actually sent Commandment next, and Commandment went in company, which is also a switch. In talking to Brad, I get the feeling that they just hoped to settle him a little bit, focus him a little bit more, especially when he was going on the track. And even in terms of his gallops, with the company beside him, he got maybe perhaps a little bit more on the bridle, trained just a little bit more to Brad's liking as far as that goes, with the company to kind of enthuse him and focus him a little bit. And then finally, the last horse on the track was Full Effort, who can go early, late, or regardless. He is right behind me getting his bath right now. And he's the horse that's suddenly become the buzz horse that a lot of people have been talking about. Of course, his most recent successes have been on synthetic Tapeta track over at Turfway Park. Question is how he would like the dirt, but so far he has trained beautifully and seems to be handling everything that's been thrown at him. The other one who handles everything thrown at her is Andy B. Ancone. And Andy, I suspect you are once again following the Pletcher story.
Yes, Caton, starting the day off at the Pletcher barn. And, you know, as a trainer, you've got to be able to roll with the punches, especially when you're a Hall of Fame trainer. But last night, we got very lucky. No rain at all. The track managers actually did leave the track open, and then it just poured down. So the track actually became very heavy towards the end. Before the break, I rode 3 sets in, and it got very mucky, very heavy. So no surprise that they're sealing now with the anticipation of more rain. But because of that, Todd Pletcher has decided to train Zany during the training hours of the Derby and Oaks horses, as opposed to sending her out early. We saw her go out during that time yesterday because she stood in the gates. And what I'm hearing is that it was initially planned for Renegade to go stand at the gates as well, but that decision will be made after he gallops. Thankfully, all the riders here in the Pletcher barn wear a radio, so they're able to communicate with Todd after the gallop before and obviously listen to his instructions. But Renegade and Zany are going to do their usual gallop back up to the wire stand, go for a nice gallop, and TBD whether Renegade goes to stand in the chute gate once he's finished, Michael.
So the morning line and wagering is open. Current favorite Renegade will be, of course, front and center. I feel like he's potentially the best horse in this field.
Yep.
But doesn't have the panache and the star power that a Journalism had or a Sovereignty had coming in. Is it just the difference in crops this year and we don't have that? Is it something to do with the horse? Were they just that superior last year?
I think the fact this is more wide open, I hate to use that cliche, but you look at Renegade, I mean, he's an absolute picture of a horse to look at. We had Sovereignty and Journalism stood out. They were men among boys last year. If you had him in that crop last year, he would fit. The problem is you got 4 or 5 other horses here that have a legitimate chance.
That's why I kind of keep going back and forth. It's hard for me to kind of pinpoint who I truly like this year.
Yeah.
Because you could just make so many good cases.
Great shot here of the difference before and after they floated. So they have, it's a big metal plate. Instead of, raking it with the harrow, what this does is it compresses the dirt. So when there's more moisture coming down, it'll roll off the top. It won't sink in and get that muddy track.
Yeah, you can see the harrows are lifted up. That's the teeth of the tines at the back of where they're sealing there. So they're sealing this down. The best analogy I always use, Joe, is if you go to the beach, right? Where the ocean washes up on the beach, that's like a sealed racetrack. The further you go up the beach where there's no ocean, it becomes deeper, cuppier, and sandy. That's more like a regular racetrack. That's the best way to describe it. And if you walk on that beach, that's the best part to walk. It's actually the firmest.
That's an absolutely perfect analogy. And a lot of times, too, they'll actually keep the track open like they did just to get a little moisture into it to be able to seal it. If there's no moisture in it, it's hard to really
get a tight seal on it.
And I will say, this is one of the best tracks in America on a sealed wet racetrack.
A little sand base to it. So when you add a little water to sand, what does it do? Like I was taking the analogy of the beach, it makes it tighter. And the track is actually cambered. You saw that shot there down to the inside rail. So the idea is that when the rain lands, it drains down to the inside rail, and it's the crown of the racetrack, and some to the outside of the rail. So it's just like, the rain here. If you were to walk on the concrete here, right, you don't get wet feet. There's no puddling. And that's what that is. It kind of imitates concrete. The rain just hits it and runs off.
Let's check in with Caton.
Yeah, guys, I'm at the Belmont barn where Chief Wallaby just came out with his rider on board and just did a little jog, which is real standard for Vermont horses to do before they actually go out to the track. The rider gets a leg up, they walk around the shed row for a little bit, and then they come out and just do a little jog so that once again, it's one final check that everything is the way it's supposed to be before the horses then go out and train. And yes, Sovereignty is also walking the barn area right now with his tack. He's all ready to go. So we expect both horses, Sovereignty as well as Chief Wallaby, to hit the track in just a minute or two.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you do. They walk around with the rider, weight on the back, bring them out on the blacktop, jog them up and down a couple of times. And if there is anything that's brewing, you'll get to see it on a firmer surface like that with weight on the back. It'll kind of exaggerate it if there's something brewing. So a lot of trainers do that, jog up and down in the morning before they go to the track.
Let's take a look at So Happy for trainer Mark Glatt, the Santa Anita Derby winner. One of the most compelling and tear-jerking, I don't want to say one of the best stories going in because it has got a heavy amount of sadness in it with the loss of his wife, Dina. But So Happy, named after Mark Glatt, because he is, he's got a personality that he can be gruff and he can have a furrowed brow oftentimes. He's a hell of a trainer, and So Happy would be quite the story should he win the Kentucky Derby. And this is a horse who's 15-1 morning line, and I think we saw with the live odds, he's bet down to about 6 or 7 to 1.
I think he's 6 to 1.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of traction here. And, I mean, Mark's we've played on that. I used to interview him a lot, Joe, after he won a stake or something, and he'd just have that straight face. I'm like, here's Mark, big winning moment, very happy again. He'd just stand there.
We've actually gotten pretty close over the years. When I actually won my 2000th race for him at Los Al, and he would never drive to Los Al, but he knew I was close, and he actually came down that day.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the biggest smile I ever saw on his face is when he took $400 off of you from poker.
Remember that?
Oh,
no,
my
it
God.
was for the Seattle and Rams game.
Yeah, he walked up to the set and got 400. Boy, yeah, he was grinning ear to ear. He might not smile as much if he wins the Derby.
That was a bad day.
For you, it was great for him. I mean, getting $400 out of you, that's like getting $2 million off of Rockefeller. Let's take a look.
Well, he said the first surgery Joe Talamo ever has will be to open his wallet.
Right, exactly. It's amazing he could ride horses so well with alligator arms like that.
Yeah.
Intrepido on track, or heading to the track, waiting for the renovation for trainer Jeff Mullins. And, the story with him this week was the work. Was it too fast? Can he come back and still fire his best shot in the Derby after moving so fast in the morning the other day.
I mean, like, Simon, a question for you. A horse that worked that fast, how would you train him going up to the Derby? Like, just as light as possible, jogging, galloping?
Yeah, you go light as possible, but you can't overdo it because they get pumped up from the work.
Yeah.
And then if you back off too much, they get too fired up, and that's a bad situation walking over here. So, yeah,
you could see him right now.
Yeah, he's like antsy, and that's what I said it the other day on the show. When you work a horse like 3/8 and 34, 5/8 and 50, 58 and change, the next day it was like, man, they're feeling good. No, they're just pumped up, and
right.
Yeah.
And you don't know that they're expending that much energy until they go at race speed. So the biggest issue with stuff like that working is keeping them in the feed tub. Hopefully he's been eating up.
So we saw the Santa Anita Derby winner, the Santa Anita Derby favorite and runner-up, Potente, also out of the barn right now. Let's get back to Kate and Bradar.
Yeah, Potente and Litmus Test and Bob Baffert all just got out to the racetrack and are standing waiting their turn to go out. Leading them off is Potente, and this is the first time I've gotten a chance to see him up close under tack like this, and boy, does he carry good weight. He's a very stout horse, strong, solid looking, and also very laid back. He is accompanied by the pony, but very impressed with his demeanor. He's just kind of taken in the crowd and strolled out here like he was strolling in the park. He's standing very quietly waiting. Behind him, though, Litmus Test is equally quiet and attentive, a little bit taller, a little bit bigger, broader horse than Potente, but equally well-mannered and just waiting their turn to go out there. I'm always amazed at how composed these good horses are, surrounded by so many new variables. There's cameras in their face. There's kids all around. A lot of kids, I think, have missed school today to get a chance to see some of these Derby greats.
So let me ask you this about Litmus Test, because it happened in 2002. Bob Baffert had the fastest horse in the race, and the wagering public let him go off at 17-1 in War Emblem because nobody thought he was going to get the lead and keep going on with it.
Authentic did the same thing.
Authentic did the same thing. He wasn't as big of a price, but he was a big price. Litmus Test. Is there a potential for Litmus Test to get the lead and never turn back? I mean, look, his Los Alamitos Futurity was faster than Journalism's. Different years, different tracks, don't get me wrong. But are we underestimating this horse's potential?
I don't think so. I look, he can get the lead, but I just don't think he's fast enough. I honestly don't. Even if he gets the lead, I really don't.
I mean, I think Pavlovian's going to go, and don't forget Intrepido right to his inside.
Right, he's fast as well.
With that
speed,
with that sharp half mile, he might break out of there running.
Yeah.
There's Jimmy Barnes waiting with the Baffert contingent to come out on the racetrack. His pony's getting. You see Potente getting a little love from Bob Baffert. Baffert going ball cap this week. This is new to me. I don't ever remember seeing the ball cap on Baffert.
Seen it once in a while.
Very rare.
Few months, yeah.
Very rare. I mean, I get the rain is going to affect your wardrobe decisions. He's wearing the on clouds in the morning. You won't see him in the Lucchese's until race day. But the baseball
Are those
hat.
on clouds?
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely on clouds.
There's no way your eyesight's worse than mine, Joe.
I mean, I'm wearing some. And
Yeah, they look good. No,
Any potential jockey agents out there, I would have him go to the eye doctor before he starts galloping again. Let's go to Scott Hazelton, standing by with one of the most famous pony horses in all of Kentucky.
Yeah, he's the biggest. That's for darn sure. This is Harley and Monty here with Pavlovian on the other side. I think he's over there. Is there a horse over there, Monty?
Yeah, there is one over here. But he's a good-looking horse. Yeah, it's Doug O'Neill's. And we're taking him out and letting him have a nice training deal today. And easy, Harley.
Am I working him up? What's going on here?
No.
Did I irritate him?
No, he's fine. He's fine. Looking for candy, I believe.
He's got a little slobber on my jacket here at this point in time, but it'll wipe off. It'll wash off. How many derbies is this for you?
This will be 41. 41 derbies.
How many derby winners have you let over?
Just only 3. Only 3.
It's a pretty good strike rate.
And California Crone, and then Sauvigny. Yep. Then I took the winner of the Oaks last year, too, so that was pretty special. Winner of the Oaks and the Derby last year, so we'll see what we get done this year.
It's always a pleasure to see you and see this tremendous steed that you ride every day here at Churchill and at Keeneland.
Why, thank you. I think he's happy to be here. He knows what's going on. He's got a lot of energy. It's like, oh, he's ready to go. He likes the spotlight, I believe. He loves it.
I think he does, and I like being next to him, but I'm also worried about getting stepped on here because he's getting a little rambunctious. So thank you, Harley. We love you, brother.
Have a good day.
I mean, Scott, that was a little rude. You didn't offer him a sip of your coffee. He clearly wanted some of the Starbucks there. Harley's got to be the most famous. He's the most famous pony horse in America. He's the only one I know the name of.
I mean, he's like sitting on a barrel, right?
He is.
As wide as your legs have to. I mean, look at it.
Seriously. How do you get on a horse like that? That's like Joe trying to get on, well, every horse he's ever ridden. But for a normal human, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, you
Get
can.
a step stool?
Yeah, they might have a step stool. You just put one foot in the iron and you can leg yourself up like cowboy style.
I mean, there's no way I could look over him.
No,
You could
walk
under. Yep.
You could walk under him.
Walk right under him, Joe. At any rate, Pavlovian, look, his last two races, the two toughest races he was in were the two best races he ever ran. There's a look at So Happy. So for the Thorograph players, I know this is a horse that they're all going to use because his Thorograph sheet, the progression of his numbers is darn near perfect. And his number that he ran in the Santa Anita Derby, I think there's only two horses that have ever run a faster number. I think it's Further Ado, and one other horse is maybe he ran a 0 1/4, I think. And
He's got the right style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Joe, the track at Santa Anita, kind of deep, right? They've especially over the last 5 years, they've really made that a little bit deeper of a surface.
I think even if you go back 10, 15 years, I always feel like I know everybody thinks speed in California, but I think on a deeper surface like that, speed will carry just for it helps.
It's hard to quicken in.
It's just hard to close on that. But saying that, I think that's why so many California horses over the years have shipped so well. They come here to Churchill Downs, Oaklawn, and what have you, and they just run off the screen because when they get to those tighter sand-based tracks compared to the looser, deeper tracks, they just skip right over it.
Yeah, so not to give away too much, and I highly recommend purchasing the sheets, and then the seminar they do every year on Thorograph is coming up. But to put it in perspective, the only horse that has run a number faster than So Happy's Santa Anita Derby was Further Ado. That's the second fastest horse based on a one race number in the entire field.
And you know what I like to see too, Mike, whether it's Thorograph or Bayer, when they run that big number, the further they go.
Oh, yeah.
If they go from 1 1/16 to 1 1/8 and they run a lesser Bayer or a higher Thorograph, to me that kind of shows you that maybe they don't want that distance, but I do like to see that progression the further they go because none of these horses have gone 1 1/4.
And they've both got the right running style for that. I'm going to give you an interesting stat. I was doing some homework last night, right?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I was smoking cigars, so go ahead.
And I think this, I don't buy in the stats you can do it, but this I think is significant. All right, listen up, Joe. I'm going to learn you something. All right? The point system started in 2012. We've all agreed that the early speeds coming out of it, it's a better race. There's been 14 run-ins in the Kentucky Derby since the points were introduced. 11 of the 14, the winner was first, second, third, or fourth at the mile pole. You could basically look up at the TV screen on the mile pole and say the Derby winner's one of those four. Now,
you mean at the quarter pole turning for?
Yeah, after a mile.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. After a mile of the race. Of the other ones, they were 5th and 6th. So okay, let's say 13 out of the 14 were 1 through 6. The only horse that closed from far back,
Rich Strike,
was Rich Strike. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
great. At the mile pole. At the mile pole, not after a mile. So with a mile to go.
So after a quarter mile, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, after a quarter mile into the race. So basically, by the time they get to the turn, you know who's got a shot and who doesn't.
Yes. After a quarter mile into the race, the winner was 11 out of 14 times. The winner was first, second, third, or fourth. 13 out of 14 times, they were first, second, third, fourth, or sixth.
And 1 out of 14 times, it was Rich Strike.
Yeah.
I mean, that was basically he is the anomaly.
And so that's the top third of the field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty.
And that's why trip is everything. And if no one's seen it before, Mind That Bird and Street Sense have the best overhead view. If you could go back and watch that.
Oh, Mind That Bird. I still think he's the most underrated Derby winner of all time because either he's almost as good as Rachel Alexandra or she's not as great as we saw because they were right there.
I go back and watch it every year. I mean, just to watch that overhead view.
And those 14 races, real quick, and then it's not like the fractions determine the result. The half miles ranged in those 14 runnings from 45-1 to 47-1. So in that whole broad
That's
range.
so fascinating.
All right, we got a SIG alert here on the 405 South heading onto the track for a traffic update. Let's go to Caton.
Yeah, or trying to dodge the marathon runners on Mini Marathon Saturday here. This is crazy. I've never really seen anything like it because it's taking a little longer to seal the track. We got a parade of horses. So Happy is first in line to hit the track when they actually open it. He's been here the longest and has not moved a muscle, stood here so patiently. Then we've got Bob Baffert's two, Potente and Litmus Test, and they were next and have been here almost as long as So Happy. And again, they haven't really gotten out of line at all. Then behind them, we have to walk. I've forgotten who it is. I think it's O'Sally. O'Sally standing very patiently. Behind them, a filly who I haven't seen the saddle towel for yet, but Cherie DeVoe's pony accompanying the filly here. And we'll get around and take a look at the saddle towel and see who that one is. Just this one is for sure Nikon. An interesting thing about Nikon, you see on her hind quarters or flank, there's a piece of almost adhesive. It's tape, and that's kind of used to stimulate muscle activation. And you're seeing it more and more on quite a few human athletes as well as equine athletes as a training method. And then coming up last as they start to open the track, the last to the party for Todd Pletcher, we have Renegade about to walk on, and of course Zany, the filly, bringing up the rear. So amazing to see this many top-notch horses standing patiently, waiting their turn to train.
They're making their way onto that track now. Thank you, Caton. But how does this change your preparation? I mean, they're just in a mode of gallops and routine jogs and whatnot at this point, Simon. But what does the sealing of the track do? And as a trainer, does it add a little bit of trepidation and nervousness?
A little bit. I mean, thank goodness they don't have to do any work. They just do a slow gallop over it, you know. And it's only going to be one day.
Hi, how you doing?
Look at the crowd there.
Hi there. Mike Joyce. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yes, good to see you. Yeah, how you doing? Try the coffee. Fresh brewed.
You'd be such a good used car salesman.
I tell you what, man. I got a Pinto with your name on it, buddy. Let's take a look at Renegade as this is live. Renegade on the track. And you were talking about his physicality before, but, I mean, we can't stress it enough. I mean, I met some people last night at the Louisville Thoroughbred Society that had never been to the races, their first Derby. They said, you know, how do you find a winner? I said, just go look at the horses. I was like, find a name.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to learn how to handicap in the next 3 days. Just try to find a connection and go look at him. I feel like if you walk into the paddock, there's a good chance you're going to see Renegade and be like, that's my guy.
Very athletic-looking horse. Not too big, not too heavy, but, you know, obviously he's been... Todd announced yesterday he wears 3/4 shoes. We'll get into that whole discussion later. He had him on in the Arkansas Derby, so he's proven he can, you know, pass quarter cracks, patched up and healed. You know, I can tell you Cigar had a quarter crack for 1.5 years during his tremendous run. So these are things that, you know, trainers deal with on a daily basis. You're only hearing of it because it's the Kentucky Derby, and Todd Pletcher just put it out there. Again, back to my analogy, if this was an allowance race on a Wednesday, you wouldn't know. He had to put it out there
because it's the Derby.
And there's 1,000 people out there, and somebody probably took a picture and said, hey, or asked him, and he's like, you know what, I'll just deal with this in one interview and put it out there. So,
right. I mean, you go to a racetrack on a Thursday afternoon, and there's 64 horses running. Half a dozen of them will have a 3/4 shoe on.
Exactly, or a quarter crack patch. But yeah, they're just trying to get him to switch his lead. And we talked about this yesterday. It's because he's not going that fast. So I will say, make the admonition here, though. When you have a horse like this with these type of feet, obviously he's had some issues. This is not the type of track you want to train on for an extended period of time.
Right.
Like 1 or 2 days is fine. But actually, wet, sealed tracks can actually induce quarter cracks.
Right.
Because it's a little firmer. So, you know, not an ideal situation to train on an extended period of time, but this is only one morning. Moving great.
Yeah, he looks really good out there. And you made a good point earlier, too, Simon. Fortunately, everyone was able to get their major workouts in this past weekend. Now, I mean, whether the track's good or bad, they're just going to gallop and jog, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, he's coming right behind the set here. We get a good look at him over our shoulder, and just a beautiful animal. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to make of these gallops. We're just, you know, kind of admiring the view at this point.
Yeah.
We know he's sitting on tilt and ready to go. His last couple of drills were perfect for him. But let's go. We can go back to those shoes. I kind of want to see him finish this gallop a little bit. But before we do that, let's go to Andy Biancone, because she is standing by with the blacksmith who can tell us a little bit about how these horses get their footwear.
Well, Michael Joyce, you said it yourself. Very important for these Derby contenders to have the proper Nikes on. And we're standing by with Nathan Staten, who actually is the blacksmith for Chief Wallaby. He also shoes Riley Mott's horses, but we are going to make a 3/4 shoe. So, Nathan, show them how it's done. We've got a regular shoe right here, and what are you going to do?
So we're going to cut off a little bit of the heel here just to alleviate if a horse has some conformation issues, making it land hard here, or if it has a quarter crack that's coming or is there. You got to relieve the pressure from that area to let the horse do what it does best.
Right on.
Get a little out. We'll cut this, grind it, and that's about it.
All right, let's do it. This is
So
where the
find
action...
Where the horse needs it. Usually just put that right here. Okay, now we're good. Some horses, you know, need a little bar thrown in there. But look, we're going to take it over here. Grind just a second. Sorry for your listeners. Now we've got a smooth transition for it, and that's it. It basically just eliminates the pressure of that heel, because the way the horse is made, a lot of times they land hard on their insides because they're conformation of their bones. So you kind of have to get that out of their way sometimes, and then things will smooth out and go back to normal.
Right on. So if you take this shoe, as Nathan explained, you're taking the pressure off that inside heel. And you can see horses with hind shoes that are 3/4, front shoes that are 3/4, but a couple horses that are running in this year's Derby wear 3/4 shoes and have been wearing them since the very beginning. Golden Tempo and as well as Renegade, their entire lives have been wearing 3/4 shoes. And as you've said, it could be just a conformational thing as well.
Yeah, the way, like, so if their legs are a little crooked, for lack of a better word, they'll grow uneven, you know, from the work and just their life. Even if they didn't do this, they would still grow that way. So we get in there to kind of alleviate it and relieve the pressure, make their bones straight as we can to make them move comfy.
You heard it yourselves, folks. Nikes for Renegade, Golden Tempo, a couple others, and I'll let you get to work, Nathan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not gonna lie, Nathan's a little dreamy there. If I was gonna make a calendar out of shirtless blacksmiths, I'm starting with that guy. Let's talk about the shoes, though. The 3/4 shoe. First of all, if we're playing horseshoes, that's terrible, because you're not going to get a ringer with cutting off the 3/4 shoe. But for the horses, common piece of equipment for, you know, a couple of reasons why they would do that. It doesn't really affect anything other than it just makes the horse a little bit more comfortable. It works a little better with the way his feet hit the ground.
Yeah, he's got them on both front feet. So the genesis of this, in this particular case, is the horse has suffered probably for some quarter cracks. That's a slight splitting of the hair, the hoof wall. It would be like a crack in your fingernail, and like the flesh or the meat popping through. What you have to do is you have to dry that up like a cut, and then they patch over it with some Equilox patch. And to alleviate the pressure, when the foot lands on the track, you 3/4 the shoe. So the best analogy I would use would be like, when you go to get fit for running shoes, if you're competitive, you know, what is it, athletes pronate, they roll their heel to the inside. Well, that's what happens. If you have an uneven foot through conformation or they just land wrong, every time that foot lands, and it's more, I think, more prevalent in show jumpers than these, because the foot is pounding on the ground so hard. When you keep doing that, it just drives the bulb of the heel up, and it forces a hairline crack in the hoof wall, which causes a quarter crack. So the 3/4 shoe alleviates the pressure. There's more pressure displaced elsewhere around the foot.
Those are the Hokas with the stiffer inside wall.
Correct.
Right. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran the best race of his life in the Arkansas Derby with those on, if you think about it.
As somebody who plays the horses every day, let's take a look at this. We're gonna zoom into the shoe, and you can see it. It's just like you saw from Nathan the Sexy Blacksmith. Right there on the foot, it's just a little bit of gap there.
And you can see there's Equilox patch on the outside of the foot there that, you know, that maintains the integrity of that hoof wall. It kind of brings it together. So the 3/4 shoe, when that foot lands, there's no pressure driving up on that inside bulb of the heel. You see the bulb of the heels there? Those two bumps? Those should be level. I think if you looked at his other foot, I've seen him out here, he looked at his other foot, there's one that's just a little higher than the other, and that's causing the pressure on the inside. So both his front feet have this, and nothing major at all. A lot of horses have this.
Can I be totally honest? I'm going to be like just blatantly honest. I don't ever want to hear about a horse's shoes ever. It's just information to confuse me, and any day of the week when you're at the racetrack, you wouldn't know or care about it. It's only because it's Derby, and it's only because it's the Derby favorite. We might not be talking about this shoe if this horse is 20-1. Like, we're only talking about
well,
it.
Todd put it out there. We wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, I know, but like he wouldn't have to answer that question if he had a horse in an allowance race at Gulfstream on a Friday afternoon. It's much ado about something. I mean, there's a million things that affect the outcome of a race. I'm going to say on that list, that shoe's probably somewhere in the high 900,000s, right?
Yep.
So, but hey, it gives us content to talk about. Joe's giggling over there. We're going to try and calm him down a little bit. Let's take a look at the Puma. Don't laugh on camera. Just wait till we come. Don't. That's all right. I'll get you. I'll figure out a way to have Nathan take his shirt off for the later part of the show in a bit. But we want to talk about the Puma right now. Gustavo Delgado.
Nikes to Pumas.
Yeah, Nikes to Pumas. I was more of a Kangaroos guy. You know, the pocket shoes. So here's the Puma out on the track for Gustavo Delgado. And this has been... Can you be a buzz horse for 3 races? Because I feel like he's been a buzz horse for 3 races. He was the buzz horse going to the Tampa Bay. He was the buzz horse going into the Florida Derby. He's got some buzz going here, and we saw in the first $300,000 worth of wagering getting some attention.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people this week, and, you know, Puma's in their business, so he's been consistent. I think he arguably comes out the best jurisdiction in South Florida. We get some comments coming in from YouTube here. What, the Puma and Commander's excellent shot of winning more than Renegade and Further Ado, my humble opinion.
Sure. That's not a humble opinion. You don't have to be humbled by that opinion. It's a great opinion. All opinions are great before the race, right? But I think here's the discussion we had. I think the Puma has the skill and the talent to win the Derby. Like everyone else, it's going to come down to trip.
And he fits that profile where he's close enough to where he could be, you know, within the top 6 after the first quarter mile. So I like his running style.
I mean, he broke his maiden in the Tampa Bay Derby. That just goes to show what type of horse they thought he was. And look who, I mean, ran 2nd to Chief Wallaby first time out, 3rd to Renegade, beat Further Ado in the Tampa Bay Derby, and then just missed by a nose last time out in the Florida Derby. And he was coming back quick that time in 3 weeks.
He's another one that has a real nice progression on his numbers. First to second time out, not so great when he first stretched out, but then from the Sam F. Davis to the Tampa Bay to the Florida Derby, he's gotten faster with his times and faster with his numbers each and every race. And that is a great pattern you want coming in to the Kentucky Derby. And look, Gustavo Delgado has done this before with Mage. He's a fantastic trainer. He's one of the greatest that's ever thrown a saddle over a horse in his native Venezuela. And he got bored with the success. So he said, you know what? We conquered Venezuela. Let's come conquer the U.S. And he's been dominant.
Been very dominant. Had 5 runners in the Derby in 10 years in training. That's remarkable.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're all around this price range, 150 grand, something like that.
Yep. Obviously won it with Mage, and they're coming back for more here with the Puma. When he's faced the top 3 betting choices in the field, top 3 or 4 betting choices.
I think that was the toughest road to the Derby down in South Florida.
I also, I was texting with Michael Ivarone, who bought into the Puma. I said, if the Puma wins, I'm partying with you guys Derby night. He said, you're in. So
Can I come?
Absolutely not.
You guys still want to be married?
My wife doesn't watch this show. There's Chief Wallaby out on the track. Let's get over to the starting gate with Scott Hazelton, then we'll return and take a look at Chief Wallaby. Scott, what do you got?
We've got a group of horses back here at the gate. We're over in the chute, in the mile chute, where they've got the starting gate halfway out, and they're working with one of the Oaks fillies right now, and the others are waiting their turn. This is Pashmina. They've loaded her several times into the gate. She walks in. Now they've closed the back of the gate. This is the first time that we've seen them go ahead and close the back of the gate, and she's standing in there pretty calmly as she's looking out through the front of the starting gate. So working with her, keeping her locked in. Now they're going to open the back of the gate, and it looks like go ahead and back her out. So she's been pretty good with this process. I mean, they have done this multiple times, walking her in, taking her back out, just in and out they've gone. Now they move on to another filly. This is Counting Stars, who's going to be one of the favorites for the Kentucky Oaks, and she takes her turn to walk in smoothly. They lock up the back of the gate, and looks like that this is going well for this filly, and we'll see how long they spend with standing her in the starting gate. And now Percy's Bar, it looks like they may go ahead and let her gate school right alongside Counting Stars. This is the Central Bank Ashland winner, just being shown the gates and not quite wanting to go in just yet, as she was taking care of some business, and I think that now she's ready to go ahead and do so. So now, yeah, she's gone in to the gate, and they stand alongside each other in the starting gate. She's actually looking over at us as I'm talking. She's hearing me talk Percy's Bar, so she is tuned in to everything that is happening. So Counting Stars going to be backed out. Percy's Bar, she'll stand in there for a second. And it looks like the remaining horse to school is a Derby contender in 6-speed. So Percy's Bar taking this well, as they just are going to go ahead and back her out now. Her turn is over, and we'll see how 6-speed goes into the gate. But Percy's Bar standing like a pro, relaxed filly, and now we'll see how 6-speed gets on. Declan Cannon is aboard this runner for Bupit Seymour. You can see he's wearing a hood, which is frequently used by European horses, and he goes in smoothly as well. So a little gate schooling action this morning on this rainy morning, and a lot of these horses, or these 3 horses that we just saw, all waiting patiently back here behind the starting gate. And just like the other 2 that we showed you, 6-speed, very relaxed in the gate as the steam is rising off of him, as these horses certainly got warm on this rainy afternoon with their training. So a little gate schooling, Bupit Seymour looking on, and I think they've got to be fine with what they're seeing on 6-speed.
It seems somewhat mundane, but it's such an important part of the preparation process.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you know, like this, all of these horses are run multiple times, but there's nothing like getting them back to the starting gate, just standing there, getting them to relax, and they're all doing pretty good here. Both these fillies and 6-speed as well. Getting a little warm, but that's expected when you go to the starting gate. It's a muggy morning too.
Muggy, it's raining. That's not humidity. That's literal precipitation. Again? Yes. As we're taking a look, coming in front of the gate here. And now they've opened the track up to other workers. Let's go back to Chief Wallaby. We saw him out for a gallop. You want to talk about buzz horses, wise guy horse. I didn't see what he was on the odds, but at 15-1 morning line, he might be the best long shot possibility of winning this thing.
He's 15-1. I'll vacuum up every single piece of that price.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot. I mean, just on the fact that he's coming out of what we think is the toughest circuit. Who knows? Maybe Saturday night at 7:30, the Florida horses will all run up the track. But going in, at least he looked like he's coming out of the toughest circuit. And I think he's the horse coming out of South Florida that has more upside, more room for improvement than anybody, because he's so lightly raced. And knowing the stable that he comes out of, there's always going to be more left in the tank here. I mean, he's developed since South Florida. Look at him. I mean, he's a stout horse.
And I liked him a lot, but I liked him even more with the blinkers on, watching him work. I mean, it just put so much more focus into him, I feel like, because if you look at some of his prior works at Payson Park, it looked like he was still wanting to kind of lean in on other horses, look around a little bit, but with the blinkers on, boy, you talk about all business.
That's why I think he's going to move forward. He's got the pedigree to like it, too, out of a Medallion Dory mare. She was unraced. And what a story this would be. I did a podcast yesterday with one of our colleagues, Dubs Anderson. He's like, what's the most intriguing story? And I'm like, there's so many, but to me, it's the Riley Bilmot
father-son.
Yeah. And not because it's happened in other sports, right? But it's usually the dad comes along, he retires, the son falls into base. I tell you what, it's LeBron James and Bronny, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Those are the only 2 I could come on with. Most of the kids that follow in their parents' footsteps, it's usually 10, 15 years after their parents have been exceptional athletes. To have this so early on, father-son combo in the Derby is remarkable to me.
2 things. One, Riley's way better than Bronny. Secondly, Chief Wallaby adds the blinkers. You know what? You did what do you call it? Research?
Research.
I did research. Want to hear my research?
Yeah.
Check this out. I used a computer and got on the internet. It's crazy what you find there.
Claude?
In the Kentucky Derby, it is highly unusual for a horse to win the Derby with first-time blinkers. In the last 26 years, since 2000, 11 horses have added blinkers for the first time in the Kentucky Derby, the best finish was 4th.
Okay.
So they're just, I'm just saying.
Well, put them in your super at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Him for 4th. Now, I don't know how many of those horses were trained by Bill Mott and how many of them had the talent matched up to the field like Chief Wallaby, but he's another one. Very easy to spot on the racetrack. He's a good-looking horse, well put together. And the talent is evident. And the only knock on his abilities at this stage of the game has been the mental acuity. He gets the lead, his ears go up, kind of looks around. And we heard the story, I think it was David Grenig who reported it, but Junior Alvarado came out of the Florida Derby thinking, this horse would really benefit from blinkers. And he waited 2 weeks. And then he went up to Bill Mott and he's like, hey, Bill, I think there's a chance this horse would improve from blinkers. And Bill said, yeah, we started working with blinkers this week.
It's been on all week.
And then Junior goes, good, so it was your idea then.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be your idea. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and Riley earned his way here, unlike Bronny, too. Oh, shots fired.
Hello.
Watch out.
Facts.
My girl Janie might be working. You don't want that to
Hashtag
get
facts.
back. Yeah. The thing is, Bronny is actually a really good basketball player. He's just only like in the top 430 in the world, not 425. There's Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner from a year ago. I mean, this is the most beautiful racehorse in the world right now, hands down. And he's got the accomplishments to go in at the reigning horse of the year. He's named Sovereignty appropriately as he lords over the 3-year-old class of this year.
I love how they're letting him gallop with the Oaks and Derby horses. I think just as fans in general, that's so great to
Don't
see.
get to see it very often. And, big race this weekend, but they're going to roll right into whatever it is, June something. Sovereignty and Whiteborough. That matchup is confirmed now in the Stephen Foster.
When was the last time we saw a 3-year-old class as loaded as this with so many of the stars coming back? We have Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza, and Magnitude all coming back for a 4-year-old campaign. I don't think I've seen that in the 25 years I've been with TVG/FanDuel TV.
And think about how good that 3-year-old crop was. Sovereignty beat Magnitude by how far in the Travers, and Magnitude just came back to win the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah.
We'll know how good they are after the Foster. If Barrio beats him again.
Yeah.
It's an exciting year for the sport of kings, and we've got the most exciting day coming up as we have breakfast at the Derby. Rain's coming down, but that won't rain on Andy B's parade. Andy?
Well, seems like just yesterday, jockey Junior Alvarado won the 2025 Kentucky Derby aboard Sovereignty, but Chief Wallaby has been looking excellent coming into this year's Derby. Junior, you worked him last time. He had the blinkers on. What were your overall thoughts from that work?
No, I thought it was very good. Working 2 weeks ago, then I worked him last week again, maintenance work, and I think he's been doing everything like we expected. I think we got his attention with the blinkers, and we're just hoping that did the trick for him.
We always talk about the progression with these horses. I feel like he's grown immensely from his debut at Gulfstream Park to now. Do you feel that progression physically with him?
Absolutely. I think the last 2 times when I work in, I think comparing when he ran for the first time out and even going a little back when I work in 2 weeks before he ever runs, I can see he has changed a lot, body-wise. He's mentally, he's getting more focused now. And I think, he's just picking at the right time.
Do you feel like the blinkers kind of enabled him to have a couple extra gears?
I mean, for sure in the morning at least he did that. So, hopefully he translated that in the afternoon, and I think we should be okay with him.
What did you feel about the post position draw?
Post position was great. We're in the middle. He has some tactical speed. He breaks good out of there. We'll get to see what the speed inside and the outside will do, and then we can see right off.
Well, Junior Alvarado certainly at the pinnacle of his career and looking for back-to-back Kentucky Derby wins. Junior, best of luck.
Thank you.
Junior Alvarado, the Kentucky Derby winning rider of a year ago, trying to go back-to-back for Bill Mott. That would be a story.
Be a great story. And it's not impossible. It could possibly happen. It's not like the horse is a hopeless long shot. He's got a legit chance.
No, absolutely. And when we talked about style, too, I mean, he's a horse probably going to be right off the pace, mid-pack, maybe a little bit closer than that. So,
oh, will he be in the top 4 at the quarter pole?
We shall
mile
see.
Pole? Yeah,
I think he will.
See.
After a quarter mile. No, but that's, I think the quality that speaks to, though, is even if you have a closing kick to win the Derby, you have to be able to run the interior fractions of this race. You can't just sit back like Zenyatta and swoop them all late. You have to be able to have a high cruising gear to get your trip.
No question about it. And I'll follow up. I'll take it one step further, Joe. You and I were talking off camera a minute ago. At the top of the stretch of those 14 runners, 13 had the lead, turning for home.
Right.
The lanes are no passing zone. We've talked about that, right? I mean, you know, once you get in front in the Derby, you're not getting past.
Well, I remember 20 years ago we were talking about the Derby, and one of my I don't know if it was one of my brothers or one of my colleagues, but this always stuck in my head. They said, don't handicap for a mile and a quarter. Who's going to be in front of the 8th pole?
Yep.
The positions very seldom change in that last furlong.
Well, if you think about Mind That Bird and Street Sense, who we were talking about earlier with those brilliant rides by Calvin Burrell, yes, they came from way back, but if you look at them turning for home
they're
at
right
the 8th
there.
pole, they were right there.
Right. Yep. It's Calvin Burrell. What a run. Super
Oh, my
Saver,
gosh.
Street Sense.
I think it was
and Mind
3
That Bird.
derbies in 4 years.
Yeah.
Colin.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And with the same ride, at some point, somebody, you guys, why you guys keep giving him the rail?
And I remember Pletcher saying why they put him on Super Saver, and he's like, I don't know why, but he's 5 lengths better at Churchill Downs. And I believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. At any rate, it's starting to come down a little bit. It's a good thing they sealed this track. Let's take a look at Pavlovian, the little Calbred that could. First of all, he's not little. Second of all, a lot of races under his belt. Yes, they started him against Calbreds, but the 2 Derby preps, the Sunland Derby and the Louisiana Derby, were easily the 2 best races he has run. So despite the fact that he might be an outsider at this point, at 52-1, give credit where credit is due. When on the biggest stage, he's run his best race.
And this is a pretty strong gallop today, too, that they're doing. Yeah, that was a really good race last time out in the Louisiana Derby. Just missed by a head to Emerging Market. But another one, his best race was his last race with the 90 Buyers. So he's clearly going to have to step up even more.
He's feeling his oats here. Look at him. You know what he's got to do. He's one-dimensional. Doug O'Neill said at the trainers' dinner last night, there's a couple of things. Because you look at his form, he couldn't beat Calbred Company as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
But those number one, they were around 1 turn. And he gave a lot of credit at the trainers' derby last night when he was interviewed to Edwin Maldonado. He said, look at the results since Maldonado's been aboard. I think it's a combination of both. It's extra distance and Edwin Maldonado. Both those things have resulted in a win and a nose to feet.
Just quickly, Joe, give the people who don't know Edwin Maldonado, because he came from Texas, went to California, has made a good living for himself as a rider there. We all know him quite well because we're based there, but what kind of a rider is he like? What does he bring to the table?
Well, one of the best speed riders in the country. Maybe not that many people back here know him if they don't follow California racing, but such a great gate jockey. I mean, I've rode with him in California for 14, 15 years, ever since he got there. Very, very strong rider, too, so I think he fits this horse to a T. And to Doug O'Neill's point, I mean, look what he was running mid-60 Buyers. Edwin Maldonado got on him, won the Sunland Derby with the 87, just missed by a head in the Louisiana Derby with the 90.
We used to joke around, but one of the things we'd say when Edwin got aboard, we'd say it's better than blinkers. You want to get speed to a horse?
Yeah.
Edwin Maldonado is better than blinkers, man. He'll get him quick.
What's the, like, how can one jockey be better than another? Explain to somebody out there getting it out the gate. I mean, we're talking about hundredths of a second when what's the difference? How do they make
timing? Just absolute timing. That's why I think P-Val, when I rode with him, I mean, this is, 10, 15 years ago.
Or 10, 15 days ago at
when he
Paradise.
when he came back for the whatever
17th
time. His timing out the gate was impeccable.
We should have you on the Equus, because, and again, to the uninitiated, you don't really hold the reins coming out of the gate. You loop the mane, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you don't want to be in their mouth, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
You have to have kind of a loop. Yeah, if you break on their mouth,
It's over. You're going back.
no good.
But P-Val had that big
yes.
noodle rein,
The
right?
best.
Well, when we return here, Kate and Bradar are going to talk to Brian Hernandez Jr. Brian, of course, won the Kentucky Derby a couple years ago with Mystic Dan. He swept the Derby Oaks double with his main man, Kenny McPeak. And he's standing by with Kate and Bradar when we return here to a soggy breakfast at the Derby. greatest Derby finish I've ever seen, without a doubt. 3 noses at the wire, separated by the narrowest of margins, and Brian Hernandez was every single bit of that victory for Mystic Dan.
I wish we could have backed it up, turning for home there. He went through a very tight hole. Joel Rosario, I believe, was on horse for Steve Asmussen, got right through there. He doesn't win the Derby without that ride.
No, he doesn't, but it was brilliant. And like we said earlier in the week, just great for Brian Hernandez Jr. to get recognized on a national, international stage like that for as good as he's been, for as long as he's been that good.
He won a Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, and he won the Oaks the day before, too.
Yeah.
That's not an easy feat, Oaks Derby.
Going out on a limb and saying that's his favorite weekend of life.
He won't. He'll never do that again.
How do you know?
No, it won't happen again.
There's 3 people here that are never doing something again, but it ain't Brian Hernandez Jr. Let's check in with Andy Biancone.
Well, our 2000 Guineas winner, 6-speed, seems like he's settled in really nicely for Bupet Seymour. He worked the other day, walked yesterday. What were your impressions following his work?
Yeah, I think he did exactly what we wanted him to do. You know, it was just a nice, easy piece of work. He's ready, he's fit. So, yeah, and he was striding out good, you know, so he's settling well here.
We've noticed you've paddock schooled him a couple of times. First time he was a little bit energetic, but how was he when you schooled him yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was much better. You know, he's okay. He doesn't mind the crowds, but he doesn't want to stand in one place. And when we tried to put the pad on him, he was a little bit fresh. So yesterday was much better, and I think he's settling in. Every day he's getting better. We
saw him stand in the gates today. How did he handle that?
Yeah, he was good. I thought, and I asked the starter. He said he was happy with him. At home he will stand in the gate, but he doesn't stand there for too long. So it was good to get him schooled here as well.
He's been a fun horse to watch. He seems very opinionated with a lot of attitude, but really seems to have just settled over the past few days. Are you happy to just see him settle down and be calm coming into the race?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you know, he's got an attitude, but in a good way. You know, he's a very competitive horse. So, and the more time he's spending here, the better he's getting, actually.
Well, 6-speed certainly has been eye-catching every morning. Bupet, best of luck, and thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Look, this will be Bupet's first starter in the Kentucky Derby, but you got to go to a guy who knows how to get there. Brian Hernandez Jr., we just saw his Derby victory with Mystic Dan, and he's standing by with Kate and Bradar.
Well, Brian Hernandez is going to be aboard 6-speed in the Kentucky Derby. Brian, talk a little about the horse. I know that you haven't been on him, but you've had some chats with the connections.
Yeah, I was just talking with the owners, and like you said, I haven't been on him yet, but I've watched all his replays, and even in his race, the last race over there in Dubai, you know, he showed a lot of grittiness. He opened up on them, which they thought they'd have a little more speed in that race that day, and the other horses that looked like they had speed, they didn't get away from the gate well, so he ended up opening up on the field pretty good, and turning for home, he looked like he was going to be a winner, and the Japanese horse kind of ran him down. But the one thing I did like about him was late in the race, you know, when that horse went by him, he gutted it out, and he tried to go back after that horse. So going into Saturday, we know he's quick, so he's going to be tactical to put us in a good spot. So we're excited about him.
With that in mind, and it's no secret, the connections have talked about, if they go fast, he's going to go faster. But what is going to be key for you as a rider in terms of letting him utilize that speed, but at the same time have enough left for a 1.25 miles?
And that's the thing with the Derby. It's such a long run into that first turn. You know, you got over a 1/4 mile into that first turn. So, and in the Derby, everything's kind of vamped up, and they're going to go quicker. So, like I was telling, we were discussing, we just have to let him leave there running and get in a rhythm. That's the biggest thing with the Derby, is just getting a horse in a good, smooth rhythm and letting them travel without overdoing things. And that's kind of the key to it. It looks like we have Pavlovian right to our inside. So from there, if he leaves there good and our horse leaves there well, we can kind of get over on him and get a good spot into that first turn.
Is that the split-second decision, obviously, on the play, depending on how everybody else breaks? Because I know a lot of things go out the window, especially with 20 horses.
Yeah, and that's a key to the Derby, is those first couple of jumps. You want to make sure your horse is square and leaves there good, because once they do that, it makes everyone's job that much easier, because then you're kind of able to work out a smooth trip from there, and that's going to be our key, is just those first couple jumps. Make sure he leaves there good, make sure he puts himself in a great spot under the wire the first time.
This is a game of what have you done for me lately, but coming here, with a Derby under your belt, with the memories of Mystic Dan and, in fact, the Oaks as well that year with Torpedo Anna, does it change things for you, for the experience?
It does, you know, having the experience. I've been fortunate enough now to ride races like the Oaks and the Derby for a few years, and just knowing and being fortunate enough to win those 2 races, knowing what kind of horse it takes, and just knowing the kind of trip you're going to need in order to pull off a win like the Derby. So it's a big advantage to have those kind of experiences.
Well, hopefully you're adding to it when it's all said and done.
That's what we keep trying for.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, we keep talking about it, but whether you got to win or experience it matters. It takes a lot of the pressure off. It does. Jerry Bailey, in his NBC News conference yesterday, Joe, he said, here was his trajectory in the Derby, right? First few years, deer in headlights, didn't know what was going on. Then he started to get nervous, you know, around Grindstone time. He didn't have a Derby winner. Yeah. Then he got the win with Grindstone. He said the last 6 or 7 years was like another race.
Right.
And he said it was literally a trajectory like that, up, and then just leveled off.
I can't remember where I was, but we were doing a panel, or maybe I was doing a show with Gary Stevens somewhere. And this was after he'd worked at TVG, so it was some kind of event, and I'll never forget this. We were talking about the Derby, and Gary's like, look, he goes, you can see the jockeys. You know, you walk out of the jocks room, and he goes, there are jockeys, you know, that are out there, and they're just, you know, overwhelmed by the moment, and they're just, wow, what do I do? And they're nervous. And then there's jockeys who are getting in the saddle, and they feel like they can win it, right? And your first Derby, a lot of people come out with their, you know, a lot of these riders come out, their eyes are this big, and they're like, oh my God, they're not really thinking I can win this. And
once my Kentucky home starts, they're like on the back of the
book. And so I asked Gary, I was like, was that you were like first Derby? He's like, oh no, I thought I could win. Which is Gary Stevens to a T.
I could see it.
Like he'd never in doubt that oh no, I thought I was winning my first Derby. There was no doubt. And that's one of the reasons he's one of the greatest to ever ride, because you have to have, there's very few athletes in general that have that mentality, that as soon as they walk on the court, as soon as they walk on the field, as soon as they get on the track, they think, oh no, I'm winning. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like I'm winning, and no moment is too big.
Tom Brady, Kobe,
Michael Jordan. It's all the elites.
And Gary Stevens and Mike Smith. And, you know, I mean, guys like that. Here's a look at setting the bar high. Who are the riders that have won the Derby in their first mount? Let's take a look. So Sonny Leon was the last to do it with Rich Strike in 2022. These are the guys in their first Derby this year. HB, Hector Barrios, I'm going from the bottom up. Christian Torres, Edmund Maldonado, Juan Hernandez, Jaime Torres, Atsuyama Nishimura, and then Chris Elliott.
Who's young. He's the youngest rider in about 10 years, the age of 20.
Who has the best chance of these? Of those horses on screen, Simon, Right to Party, Danon Bourbon, Incredible, Potente, Pavlovian, Style Tactic, and Trepido. Which one of those horses do you think has the best shot?
He's already won a classic race. Jaime Torres.
Okay.
I think he's going to add to his Preakness.
That horse has been working really well, too. Which one of those jockeys' father won the Kentucky Derby?
Christopher Elliott. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this is a trick question. Stuart Elliott. Can I tell you a great Stuart Elliott story real quick? Was when he brought his tack out to California, he rode out there for a few years.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't want to say who the trainer is because I don't want to embarrass them, but a younger trainer, he was out there galloping in the morning. He's like, who is that jockey? He looks great on a horse. Someone's like, are you serious?
Hold on, who said that?
I can't tell you. I cannot tell you. Who's that jockey?
Is he still training?
Yes. He looks great on it. Boy, that guy looks good. It's like, yeah, he won the Derby.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. Here's Commandment. He's pretty good. Okay, Commandment, I don't know. I want to make him my Derby selection. I really do. There's concern that, you know, we've seen his best and there's no uptick out of it. But here's the thing, and I was talking with Matt Bernier about this last night. A bunch of us were in the lobby at the hotel kind of throwing horses around. I don't know that his numbers are fast enough and they stack up with the very elites of this crop. But one thing we know about the Derby is it's a scrum.
Yeah.
And there is one horse who has shown time and time again that he can barrel through holes, knock horses. If they bump into him, they're not knocking him off stride. They're bouncing off him. He's tough.
He almost wants to get bumped.
Yes.
It's weird. Like when he gets...
He looks like
tight, like it makes him better.
He's not a flashy. At least this year, he's not a flashy. He was very flashy early on in his career. It's probably just because of the best of the bunch that he was beating there. But I don't know about his number. His bias speed figures are some of the highest in the field. I mean, he's run back-to-back 100s, 101.
That's true, but I feel like he's not as sexy. Let's put
No, he's not a flashy horse. He's not going to draw away and win by 6 in his prep races like Further Ado, like a Renegade.
But a dogfight?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one in the field I want more than him.
These types of horses, you don't know how much is left in the tank.
Absolutely. And I mean, look at his last 2 races in the Fountain of Youth and Florida Derby, won by a neck and a nose. Both of those races, to me anyway, looked like he was beat. And
right.
To your point, I mean, just an absolute dogfight. And I've been saying it all week. Luis Saez is I don't think you could pick a better jockey to put him on that horse.
He doesn't lack experience, Mike, like some of the others. He's been through 2 hard battles. He's battle tested. He carries good condition, and he can take a bounce going into the first
That's
turn.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're bouncing off him. He ain't bouncing off anybody. He's strong. And the way he runs, man, he's a real fun horse to go through his progression, watch all his races in order, because he pins those ears and he's fighting, right? Like some horses are running, some horses are flying. He's fighting. He pins those ears, and he's just a mean SOB in the body of the race.
And to Simon's point too, I mean, I don't think they've really got to the bottom of him, if that makes sense too. Because if you look at him in the morning working, to me, he's the least flashiest of all 3 of Brad Cox's, but that's just him. He's not going to go out there and, work 59 flat under a hold. He's just kind of workmanlike, and I mean, 1.25 miles could be absolutely perfect for him.
Yeah, I may go this direction. I want to make it my pick. I haven't finalized it yet. Sorry to the people in social that want me to write a paragraph on this race on Wednesday. Good luck with that. But I really do want to. I'm leaning in this direction. If we think that Florida was the toughest circuit, he swept all 3 races.
Yeah.
He won the Holy Bull, the Fountain of Youth, and the Florida Derby, and he's the only horse to do that in any of the Derby roads. And whoa, easy there, full effort. What just happened?
He just stumbled there. Don't be too alarmed. He's got the draw reins on, and his head is completely bowed. His chin is touching his neck. That's why he has such a good hind end there. And when you stumble, Joe, like that, just take a little stutter step, it's hard for them to correct themselves when their head is arched like that. So he did a good job. Shows the athleticism of the horse getting back to his feet.
Yeah, and good job by the exercise rider too.
There's a look at him, and how about I have full effort taking 152 from the outside. He can hold the line himself. I'm not going to talk you off that horse. He's really been one of the buzz horses.
My long shot play.
I'm totally agree. I mean, those last 2 works, 59 flat, and doing it in hand too.
And listening to Brad Cox, just letting his head out a little bit. You see, and look how pretty he moves. He gets over there. He goes, if he worked on the dirt as a 2-year-old like he did as a 3-year-old, he goes, this horse would never have seen the turf or the synthetic. That's how much he's improved. And I think, I think some kind of way, it's a good introduction to the races for a horse like this. It's going to be a better 3-year-old. He had running on turf and synthetics, a little softer campaign. Maybe you stay a little sounder, you get some experience. Now he's going to the dirt as a fully developed, mature racehorse. I think it could bode well for him. He's got races under his belt. He knows what he's doing. He's going to outrun his odds. There's no question about that.
I mean, horses from Turfway from the Jeff Ruby Stakes have run very well in the Kentucky Derby. A 4th-place finish last year. 2 fills, finished 2nd.
Yep.
Rich Strike, who won the Kentucky Derby, came from Turfway Park. Animal Kingdom.
But the difference between Animal Kingdom, 2 fills, and those horses and Street Sense is that they had run on dirt and they had won on dirt prior.
That's a good point.
He has only been a turf and synthetic horse, so it does beg the question. How will he? It's really not even the surface. How is he going to handle the kickback?
The kick, yeah. To me, the dirt, I think he's going to handle just watching him work. But I don't know, and I don't think we'll know till midway in the Kentucky Derby. How is he going to handle that kickback?
But like all the horses in this year's Derby, biomechanically, well put together, good mover.
Moves great.
And very rarely do you see a horse who's equally adept on all 3 surfaces. However, there does remain the chance that with his pedigree, Osmigan on the bottom, Liam's Map on the top, he might be better on the dirt. He could take a step forward on the surface.
I think he will. I mean, Liam's Map by Unbridled Song. He was the favorite in the Kentucky Derby. Bob Baffert said he just bought that $10 million 2-year-old last week. He said in the history of his career, there's only 2 outstanding 2-year-olds in training that he's ever seen. The one he just bought for $10 million and Unbridled Song.
Wow.
That's
pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
$10 million.
And he was beleaguered with, he had foot issues, unfortunately, Unbridled Song, but he was a talented racehorse.
Let's go to Incredibolt here. This was the horse, and we talked about it again, but I do want to, get your perspective here, Joe. The 1 1/8 around 1 turn as a prep race. When I interviewed Riley Mott, he said he actually really liked that because they kind of have to be on the bit throughout. He goes, even though it's not a mile and 3/16 like the Louisiana Derby, you could potentially get more out of a one-turn mile and an eighth.
That's a great point. I mean, I just think back at like Belmont Park, a one-turn mile and an eighth. Some of those horses are on the big on 46 and change, a lot quicker tempo, and he was right off of that. They went 47 flat. He was only a length and a half off of that pace and finished in under 12 seconds, which is hard to do. I know the track was quick there at Colonial Downs, but what's impressed me about this horse is his workout, the last work. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't a huge believer. I mean, look, that race didn't come back that quick with the 88 buyer, but his workouts then till now, I mean, night and day improvement.
I would agree with that. And look, and the pace wasn't, the track was fast, and 47 to the half mile is not that quick on a fast track, but
especially for a one turn.
But the way he finished to quicken off a slow pace like that, he looked very impressive as a dirt horse, like you said, sub 12, 11-4, 12 flat the last eighth of a mile. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. When you see Chief Wallaby and Incredibolt turning for home, 1-2, Bill and Riley. This is the Virginia Derby, this race we're talking about. Again, getting plenty of experience here, Joe. In between horses, he's getting some kickback there, and he finally gets an opening down to the inside and quickens up.
And what I liked about this, too, if you go back and watch that whole replay, he was inside, in between horses and tight holes pretty much the whole race. So it was kind of run like a derby, if you will, trying to go through tight holes. And look at him leveling out right here. That was very, very impressive. But again, not a hugely quick time. I know it was 1:47.3, but the track was very quick. He only ran an 88 buyer. Clearly, from a numbers perspective, has to improve a lot. But boy, that last work here in 47 flat impressed me a lot because, I mean, he was just in hand the whole way.
I mean, watching that, if you didn't know that was the Vineyard Derby, they just rolled the tape. He passes the eyeball test.
Yeah,
he quickened like a turf horse. He put 4 lengths between him and the field in a 1/16 of a mile.
I mean, he looks really nice there.
Yeah.
So this is certainly Riley Mott's best chance. I can't believe he's at 39-1 right now, to be honest. Well, I mean, they can't bet every horse, let's be honest. But if you look at the odds on him and then the odds on his Wood Memorial winner in Albus, and Albus nowhere near the clockings, the times, the company lines or the speed figures that the main contenders in this race have. I mean, he would be a massive upset. But you consider he's only 50-1 and Incredibolt's 39-1. The change in odds between those two, Incredibolt looks like a bargain on that comparison to 39-1.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, Albus, kind of the same boat. I think he has to improve even more than Incredibolt. I mean, he ran only an 83 buyer in the Wood Memorial. I mean, let's be honest, one other than allowance races run around that, if not higher. So from a number standpoint, he has to improve drastically. Is it impossible? Nothing's impossible in the Kentucky Derby, but has to work out. He's going to have to work out a trip, too, because he's a horse that's going to be coming from back.
Yeah, he's certainly up against it. But look, Riley Mott, 2 horses in this year's Kentucky Derby. I mean, it's one thing to get to your first Derby, to get there with a pair. That's quite the accomplishment. And regardless of what happens going forth, Albus is and will always be a Wood Memorial winner. We'll see how he develops down the line, but he's certainly up against it.
And look, they paid $320,000 for Albus, but looking incredible, they purchased him for only $75,000.
Unbelievable.
To make it there with 2 Derby horses with that.
We were talking about the $10 million horse that Bob Baffert won. If you think about it, that's $100,000 horses. You can get 1 horse for $10 million, or you can buy $100,000 horses.
Beachfront property in Del Mar.
Fill the starting gate in the Derby 5 years straight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As we get a good look at Albus here, the Wood Memorial winner for Riley Mott. So, emerging markets, the lightly raced horse. It's funny because it used to be a horse coming into the Derby with 2 starts. You'd be like, no shot. I don't think anybody's worried about the 2 starts for emerging market. I think they have enough confidence in Chad Brown's training abilities and what this horse has shown at the racetrack. The conversation just keeps coming back to who'd he beat? How tough was that Louisiana Derby?
I think the fact, and I'll reiterate it again, the fact that he shows up here for these connections, I think in and of itself is a vote of confidence. David Grenning of the Daily Racing Form did a great article yesterday with Seth Klarman, who doesn't give very many interviews, Claridge Stables, very close shop. And he kind of laid it out there. He says, look, you know, I don't buy horses higher than $350,000. I'm a native of Baltimore. I've won 22 grade 1s in the 20 years I've been with Chad. And he goes, you know, I've had cloud computing, a couple of the other ones, Zandon, you know, and Zandon came here, but cloud computing, we elected to go. Early voting, we elected to miss. And he goes, most people would think I would do the same thing with this horse because he kind of fits in that profile. But he goes, no, listening to Chad's body language, he said in the article, looking at Chad's body language, listen to him talk to me, and knowing the horse, he deserves to be here. So I think it's interesting that they show up here because Seth Klarman is not one basically that's going to show up just because he wants to run in the Derby. Doesn't matter.
And you can hear in Chad's interviews,
yes,
he's quietly optimistic about this.
He could be doing what Kenny McPeak did last year, winning the Oaks and the Derby.
Well, the other thing with Chad is that, I mean, he had 3 horses that were on the Derby Trail that defected, including Paladin, who looked like the best horse on the Derby Trail after Ted Noffey defected. So he lost a lot of good shots at the Derby, but he still has this horse coming in an Emerging Market. And I'm not certain they didn't spot Emerging Market as their best horse early on.
The way he bought this horse was also explained in that article. So let me just take a look at the price. He fits right in the, what did he cost? $185,000. So Chad said, listen to this. So he was at Keeneland, and they picked out this horse, and nobody wanted him because he was a cribber. Remember we showed you the cribbing strap yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he sucks in there. He was a cribber. He looked like a filly at the time because he was very light and lean. And he had a flaxen mane and tail. That means he basically had highlights in his mane. You know, he had a brown and white mane, and it was very unappealing. Like, you bring him out, too much chrome on a horse is a negative. So he said he went in there, and it was the last horse. He bid on him, got him for $185. Got on a plane, went home. The mane is now no longer flaxen mane. He's developed into a nice horse. And he said, you know, he's always shown as much talent as Paladin, but he just had minor issues. He cut himself in the stall, couldn't run. Then he ended up getting pneumonia. So he was on the sidelines for a while. So he's just had a bunch of niggling little issues. But, you know, he's an interesting horse.
Yeah, he's got a ton of talent, and if he gets the job done, I don't think it'll be a surprise. He might be a little bit higher of a price, but we shall see. Loads of talent. Look, the rain is not going to keep these kids from playing hooky as they get to meet one of the racehorses here on track. When we return, Andy Biancone is going to check out Bob's new digs, the Bob Baffert Barn here at Churchill Downs. When we return, hi there. Breakfast at the Derby.
Tahij is 7 lengths behind. And then it's Mr. Z, Upstart, 10 Sender is after that. And it's a knockout, and they're rounding the far turn. And Dortmund is the leader. He's on top by a half length. And Firing Line confronts him. And American Pharaoh has come under a ride as Firing Line takes the lead outside of Dortmund. Here comes American Pharaoh, and he sweeps up on the far outside. And they're into the stretch. And it's American Pharaoh who has taken the lead on the outside. In between horses, it's Firing Line. Dortmund is down at the rail as they come into the final furlong. American Pharaoh, Firing Line, not done yet. And these two come into the final 16th. It's American Pharaoh in front. Firing Line. Dortmund is third. Frosted is fourth. Coming to the finish, American Pharaoh and Victor Espinosa have won the Kentucky Derby.
American Pharaoh, the horse that ended the Triple Crown drought under Hall of Famer Victor Espinosa, one of the most brilliantly talented animals we've ever seen.
I mean, he ran a mile and a half there. He was so wide on both turns, just much the best.
I had a good view from behind of him.
You got a good view of all of them going into that turn.
I never got close to him.
He was riding Dave Weaver's horse, War Story. At any rate, just such a tremendous moment in our game. Hard to think it's 11 years ago now when the Triple Crown was
2015,
won.
and then came back 3 years later with another one with Justify.
Yep. We had 2 Triple Crown winners in 4 years, and so, of course, we immediately start talking about changing the dates. Let's check in with Andy Biancone.
Well, guys, it's no secret that Bob Baffert is going to be leaving a string here at Churchill Downs, and I've got to give y'all the house tour of the office because, you know, I always thought Coach D. Wayne Lucas had the best office, but I think Bob Baffert certainly trying to live up to his legacy with the office he has set up in his barn here at Churchill Downs. We got hardwood floors. We got this very modern type of chandelier, painted walls, barn colors, of course, some lovely seats, a beautiful Keurig guitar on the wall, TV, and most importantly, a mural of American Pharaoh. And could that be justified to his outside? I don't really know because it's in black and white, but what an artistic take and a beautiful office. But we're going to sit down right here, make ourselves at home because Bob Baffert is here to stay.
I like that love seat there. I might have to get one of those for my house.
Yeah,
just for me. No one's sitting on it with me.
He's setting up shop here. There's rumors he's buying a house here. He's got his car shipped here.
I saw the Bentley the other day. It was parked back there.
That was the backup Bentley.
Oh,
that
it
was
was.
the backup Bentley. Yeah, that wasn't the primary Bentley. It was Bentley number 1A. Let's check in with Scott.
Well, one of the things I've noticed this week with the Oaks contender Pashmina is that she's had this patch on her rear end here, as you can see. And I was just speaking to the team at the Rob Atras barn about what exactly it is. It is an Equa winter patch, and this is a patch that promotes improved electrolytes, proper electrolyte activity and hydration. And speaking to Rob's assistant, she was saying how well these things work. So it's something that is there to promote hydration. It helps with a lot of other symptoms as well that horses may have, but they have seen results. She said sometimes you have horses that maybe have poor coach. You have this Equa winter patch put on them, and within a week they start to see improvement. So I've just noticed that this device, if you will, this patch has been on Pashmina all week, got to the bottom of it, and it's here to promote electrolytes and balance within this wonderful filly.
Yeah, we saw it when she was going in the starting gate. I said to you guys, I wonder what that is, and Scott gave a good description there. Just so everyone's aware out there, it's non-transdermal, which means nothing passes into the skin. I know with everyone testing and all that kind of thing, it's a patch that goes on there. Nothing passes from the patch into the body. So there's a bunch of electrolytes within that patch, and what it does, it signals the body to utilize its own electrolytes better, for whatever you will. So there you have it.
I wonder what the sign says behind that.
I would say none.
I'm going to strap maybe some vitamin C on my arm.
Yeah.
Let's see if I don't get sick.
Yeah, I'm going to go look at a protein shake and build muscle. At any rate, I don't even know where we're going. Let's go to Kate and Bradar.
Okay, we're going to try to keep up with Dazzling Dame and Emma Wolf, but Emma, you were saying that she's not quite used to being confined in a stall all the time.
Right, so she gets about 3 to 5 hours of turnout in a paddock. We're situated at Fair Hill, and so she likes her turnout time and her grass, and it's great to let her be a horse.
How has she settled in here?
Great. She's a really cool horse. She's super chill. Really about everything except for galloping, but she just takes everything in stride.
So she's tough.
She's very tough. She is. She's been tough since day one, since we got her as a 2-year-old. She came from the 2-year-old sale, and but she's just a good training horse. So she's very nice to ride. You just got to hold on.
And the weather and the track conditions, did that make it even more challenging, or did she handle all that real well?
She did fine. She actually galloped with the pony today, just so she didn't do too much.
And what will the next few days be like for her? And for you?
And for me is just to hold on tight and to just get her around the track.
Well, we appreciate her staying in one place for just a little bit, because I know that hasn't been the case.
Right.
You've been doing laps around here.
Yeah, she's been walking my arm off, but she's been getting a good pick of grass, so it's great.
And hopefully it leads to her endurance in the Kentucky Oaks Dazzling Dame here, really taking in and making the most of her trip to Louisville.
Nicely done. Nicely done. And there's a look at meeting on the racetrack. And this was earlier today. You can still dark out. It was before they sealed the track. Meaning going to be one of the top contenders in this year's Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, she's 2 for 2 in her 3-year-old campaign. And I tell you what, she won her debut at Los Al going 6.5 furlongs. And they put her right in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and didn't disappoint. Was 4th, only beaten 3 3/4 lengths that day.
There's a look at her on the track. She's been the best filly in California, that's for certain, and we'll see what she can do come Friday, May the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, California well represented, meaning Explorer, Brooklyn Blonde. I mean, obviously, Super Corridora fell off the wayside a little bit, but she was champion 2-year-old. So they've had a strong division with the 3-year-old fillies.
So we're going to sign off here on the big network, but we are available on YouTube. We're going to keep the show going. So continue watching Breakfast at the Derby on YouTube's. It's on the internets. Go to YouTube at FanDuel Racing. Hopefully that non-transdermal handoff from terrestrial television to the streaming service here worked for you, as we are still live at Churchill Downs. Check this out. I'm having a non-transdermal cup of coffee. Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah, I can feel the caffeine coursing through my veins, sort of.
You should do that with weights, too, Mike. That way you don't have to work out.
I'm going to go up to Gold's Gym and press my body up against the glass to get ripped. It's non-transdermal weightlifting. Let's go barnstorming with Andy B. and Cohn.
We're back with the barnstorming. This is Echo again. He's one of my favorite horses, and he's going to be our candidate for tongue tie placement. So tongue tie is obviously, kind of a controversial subject, but really helpful for horses. Horses don't have a frenulum, which is that connective tissue under your tongue that keeps your tongue in place, and they also have very long tongues. So sometimes horses can put their tongue over the bit or even displace their airways. They're obligate nasal breathers, so they have to breathe air out of their nose. They can't breathe out of their mouth. So when they have their mouth open and their tongue all over the place, it really can just cause their airways to be displaced. And when their airways displaced, they're obviously not performing at their best and being able to breathe well. So anyways, I'm just going to take Echo's tongue. See, super long, very long. Tongue ties can be made out of different things. I would say this kind of cloth material is the most common thing, or pieces of flannel. Bandage are also common, but I've also seen people use pantyhose. What I'm doing is I just wrap this once across. You can see his tongue, it's super long. You don't want them to displace their airways. And I will just kind of make sure he doesn't have a knot in the back of his tongue either, and very gently tie his tongue down to his mouth. And as you can see, he's still able to move his tongue. It's not overly tight, but he's just not going to be able to displace his airways. And obviously with a bridle on, he's going to be kind of messing with it less, but really no worse for the wear. It's a happy camper, and they're super easy to come off too. Just boom, release the Kraken. All good, he's free, and just able to get good air as opposed to displacing and getting rubs on their soft palate, etc. So thank you, Echo, what a star. Catch him at the races.
That was excellent. Well done. Although I will say it's more entertaining when we were trying to watch grooming Joaquin do a tongue tie.
Yeah, because he didn't know what he was doing.
I'm happy he came out of that with all of his fingers, to be honest with you.
That's so great. You used to do it all yourself, son?
Every single horse, pretty much, yeah. I like to I keep saying it, take the element of risk out. Anything that, you know, I can't blame anyone other than myself if it goes wrong.
I think you should make a comeback, son.
I think you too. I mean, Joe should make a comeback. He's a non-transdermally winner of the Kentucky Derby on War Story.
Someone wants to send a bar on us 50 horses, you can ride them, I'll train them.
Joe Talamo, non-transdermal Derby winner. What does that mean? Did you win the Derby? No, I was 7th, but, you know, it's non-transdermal.
No, 16th. 16th, Mike.
It gets in your blood, though. It signals your body like you won the Kentucky Derby. I'm getting.
You just hold the rose on.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
Non-transdermal Derby winner Joe Talamo.
Simple as that.
Yeah,
right?
It is. Joe Talamo.
Feels like a Derby winner.
Yeah, feels like. That was. Let's okay. Let's bring it together here. Let's go to Kate and Radar.
Well, out here in the rain for the training, the trainers have to be here, the exercise riders and their team have to be here, but I'm always amazed at how many jockeys are out here in the morning, in the rain, special occasions. Edwin Maldonado will be making his Derby debut aboard Pavlovian. Not a very warm welcome from the weather standpoint.
Yes, it's off and on rain. It's raining, it stops, we get sunny, so it's a little crazy weather.
I imagine it doesn't dampen your spirits, though, and the excitement. Talk a little about what it feels like to be here, knowing you're going to be riding in the Kentucky Derby.
No, not at all. I'm grateful to be here. Very happy, excited. Dream come true for any jockey, and just grateful altogether to be here and part of the team.
Let's talk about Pavlovian. What does he like to sit on?
He's very mellow, very laid back. He'll do what you ask him to. He's done everything great so far, and he loves the rain as well, so that's a plus. We had a little rain back in Santa Anita one morning, and he loved it.
That's pretty unusual in Santa Anita.
Yes.
Is he the type that you feel can handle the mental pressures, the crowd, the breaking in front, that long run into the first turn, those types of variables?
Yes, I think he loves it. He loves the pressure. And, you know, having 10 races under him, I think he's the most experienced horse in the race. And he showed that he can do both. He can come off the pace. He can be on the lead. I personally I think he likes the pressure. I think he runs better under pressure.
So talk about preparations for you. What has the past week or so been like, and what will the rest of the week be like for you?
Preparation for me, as far as just watching the races. I've been watching the races since Sunday. I watched the races yesterday, see how the pace goes, see how riders ride over here, and yeah, just being involved.
Do you get enough opportunity to ride in the meantime before the big race? Because it's a little different when you go to a different circuit and you're not, you know, in your regular routine and getting the same number of mounts you might on your at-home base.
Yes, I'm in the Pat Day Mile as well, so I'm gonna get a chance to get a feel for the racetrack the same day. So that's good. And riding 25 years, I kind of have a little knowledge of how the few riders, you know, who to follow, who not to follow.
Edwin, I know you're very experienced, and you obviously have been around top riders who've gone through all this as well. I'm just curious, do first-time Derby riders seek out any advice from the veterans, or do you just trust yourself and your own experiences to get you through something that is so unique?
No, I think 100%. As soon as we knew we were going in the Derby, I went to Mike Smith. I went to Victor Espinosa, and I asked for advice. What to do, what to expect, and they both pretty much told me, look, it's the Kentucky Derby. You get a good start, get your position, and don't just break and sit and wait for it to come to you. Just pretty much break and go and get your position.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like when you walk out of there and they start playing My Old Kentucky Home?
Yes, I think I might cry. So.
I think there's probably some tears shed along the way, I'm sure, for the people who have supported you and have been watching along the way. And it's been always a lot of fun to watch first-time jocks in the Derby, particularly those like yourself who have ridden a long time and earned that opportunity.
Yes, I've been getting a lot of text messages and a lot of support by a lot of people. I've been ridden in Texas, Louisiana, and just old friends coming back and texting, I'm proud of you. Good luck, go get them. It's very uplifting.
Well, I'll give my own 2 cents. Enjoy the experience.
Thank you so much.
Edwin Maldonado and Pavlovian enjoying the ride.
Edwin, I'll be honest. When he first came to California from, riding in Texas at Sam Houston and Lone Star, I thought, boy, this guy's up against it, right? We had one of the best jock rooms in the country. That was when, Garrett was still around. You had Mike and Gary at the height of their powers.
Yeah.
Kent and Corey and Joe Talamo was pretty good back then. And he came out here. I was like, he came out to California. I'm like, yeah, good luck, Edwin. And he right away, he was clipping along 10, 12, 13%, winning races at Del Mar, winning races at Santa Anita. He got business fast, and he's maintained it for years. He's a very good jockey.
In fact, he's still there. Most people that come in, they leave. And getting advice from other jockeys, I'm not sure I'd do that as a jockey. I'm like, yeah, I'd take back if I were you, Edwin. Your first Derby, you want to.
Is there gamesmanship like that?
Nah.
No. That's what. I love how Mike Smith is always the go-to. Like he said that, because and that's what I always tell young riders. So many of these guys, Johnny Velasquez, Mike Smith, Gary Stevens, when he was they seem intimidating, but they're so approachable.
Right.
That you wouldn't know it, and they truly love giving advice, which is great. Always.
Can I give one quick story about Will Shoemaker, because it ties into this? So years ago at Del Mar, many moons ago, long before you or I were around, there was an issue with the track down the backside. There was a slight pothole around the 3/8 pole. They wanted to get the races in. Shoemaker, as the head of the jockeys room, said, you know what? Let's put a chalk line around it. And when we go down the backside, everyone's just going to veer out around it and then go around the turn. He went into the jocks room. He got the management and all the jockeys. Everyone agreed to it. When we go down the backside, we're just going to go around it and then follow it. They got down the backside. All the jocks went around it. He went straight through it. True story.
True story.
That is great.
Yeah. True story.
Gamesmanship.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you another thing about.
So good.
I'll tell you another thing about Mike Smith, though. When I was in Australia in 2018 covering the championships at Royal Randwick, one of the top riders in Australia is a guy named Blake Shin. He actually came to the States and rode for a couple of summers. He rode in Hong Kong for years. He is a world-class, multiple Grade 1 winning rider in various jurisdictions around the world. And he was, he's a younger guy, and he was on his way up. And I was talking to him, and I was asking him, like, what jockeys, inspire you? And I was thinking he was going to say, like, Chris Waller, like Australian jockey. He's like, the one guy I think is the best in the world is Mike Smith, and that's the guy I want to be like.
Yeah. Really?
We're in another hemisphere, and this guy's saying Mike Smith. That's how
so cool.
That's the reputation that a jockey like that brings out. Let's check in with Scott Hazelton one more time.
Well, here with Chad Brown on this rainy morning, how do things go as far as training and getting your Oaks and Derby horse out in these kind of conditions, Chad?
Went okay. The track was a little wet at the Derby and Oaks training hours, unfortunately, but that's weather and nothing you can do about it. So, but they got over the track pretty good and came home good. So another day in our rear view, which is good, and the horses seem just fine.
Simon Bray was just sharing a story describing your experience finding emerging market at the Keeneland September sale and how nobody wanted him. He was a cribber. What do you remember about that process and pinpointing him and being able to get him at a relatively cheap price looking back on it?
Mike Ryan found the horse, so he's my partner, my main guy who scouts all the Clarovich horses, and he's the one that really brought me to the horse and said, you know, look at this horse. And yeah, he's, you know, some people don't want to buy a cribber. He had this flaxen mane back then. It's since changed color. It's a beautiful chestnut colored mane now. But he has some things about it. He's immature, kind of a feminine looking horse for a male. So there were some things that you could pick apart about him. But Mike was adamant about the horse, that he's a great mover and he had all the right angles and he's a well-made horse and he's right. And thankfully that he twisted my arm to buy him.
When you go into a Keeneland September sale and there's 4,000 horses, how do you look at them and recognize, okay, they're very good individuals that come to Keeneland September, but they're not finished products? How in your mind do you visualize what the finished product is going to look like?
Yeah, well, Mike's taught me a lot through the years now, buying horses for almost 18 years. Is, you know, you got to have an imagination and try to predict what they're going to look like down the road. And oftentimes they don't work out. But, you know, sometimes they do. And Mike's really scouted and bought a lot of top horses for us through the years, a couple Preakness winners, a Horse of the Year in Bricks and Mortar, some stallions that are out there like Practical Joke, and you know his resume speaks for itself. So we've done it as a team. He's taught me a lot, and you work those Keeneland sales. You're up there reading the pedigrees and running the auctions and such, and there's so many go through, and they're good-looking horses and they're well-bred, and you can make a case for almost all of them. But finding out who the runners are is very challenging. It's one of those things about the sport, many things about the sport, that's a puzzle. And I think it drives people to succeed, and it's a big challenge.
Always a runner on the flip side. 1,050,000 is what she brought. A lot of attention there. What do you remember about, you know, seeing her as a yearling?
Yeah, I'm lucky that she was sent to me. So I trained her mother for Mr. Torrealba, and she was a really, really nice filly. Her career got cut short, but she had a ton of ability. And then when I saw this filly at the sale, it was one of those things, you know, you just wish you had somebody with pockets to buy her, and fortunately Scarborough's bought the horse, and Gonzalo Torrealba and his family stayed in for half and me to take her. Lucky that she showed up at my barn. What a beautiful horse. I'm hoping that she can have her career extend beyond what her mother's was, because she had a lot of ability, like I said, and I couldn't be happier. Only 2 starts, but she's just skipping over the Churchill surface here and looks to have a big shot in the Oaks.
Great insight, Chad. Appreciate the time this morning.
Anytime, thanks.
And that quiet confidence again. I mean, he doesn't. I think he also really enjoys coming in under the radar a bit, right? Emerging Market is not the headliner of this year's Kentucky Derby. And I think Chad likes it that way because he's come in with a lot of fanfare with the Sierra Leone in the past, with horses that are expected to run well. I think everyone expects him to run well, but in the pecking order, he's down the list a little bit, and I think that's just fine by Chad.
Fine, yeah. By most trainers, I think, like that situation, a little less pressure.
Yeah, and like you said, he's quietly confident about that horse.
I think the horse absolutely has the talent to win the Derby. It's about how's he going to handle a scrum, like when the horses start getting together. How's he going to pick out a trip? I think those are of concern, and how tough were the horses that he beat. But I don't think anyone's worried about the 2 starts, and it appears he does have the talent to win the Run for the Roses. Let's check in once again with Kate.
Well, I made Doug O'Neill stand on lower ground so we could be almost eye to eye. I like it too. Doug, 2 horses preparing for the Derby. Let's start with Robusta. It's a little different position when you're sort of waiting to see whether you're going to be running, but how is Robusta coming in?
He's doing really well, and he's ready and prepared if he gets lucky enough and gets a phone call that he can run. If not, we got the Preakness in mind, but he's doing well. He handled the track really good this morning as well.
Pavlovian is a horse who has shown some speed, and a lot of people have been talking about the pace of the Derby. Do you anticipate him being involved in that early pace?
I think so. We got the right jockey. You know, he's shown a lot more gate speed since Edwin has joined, and but there's a lot of kind of hidden speed. I think you know, Litmus Test is gonna, with blinkers on, and Martin Garcia, he figures to go. The horse outside of us at 6 speed figures to go. And I know I'm forgetting a few others, too, who figure to go. So they'll all probably be sending out of there to get position. But I love the fact that we're in post 16. Hopefully we break really good, and we're just getting good position.
Talk about his runner-up finish in the Louisiana Derby. Were you anticipating a big race, or was that kind of a, I don't want to say surprise, because obviously when you run in those races, you believe the horse belongs. But was that a breakthrough race for him?
100%. You know, he jumped forward big time in the Sunland Park Derby, so just wanted to see a good effort in the Louisiana Derby to make sure that wasn't a phony race, right? and he did just that. And in our minds, he even stepped forward because from the rail, he did all the dirty work, and then you get a top horse, lightly raced, but emerging market, and that he really pushed the emerging market right to the wire. So and we galloped out well as well. So it really confirmed what we were hoping, that the addition of Edwin, and he's just a maturing horse, and 10 races under his belt, and he just seems like he's getting good at a good time.
And what are you seeing from him on the track since he got here to Churchill?
He's just always been a blue collar. Nothing about him really wows you in the morning, but he's just solid, and he'll start off kind of slow, a lot of warm up, and then as he picks it up, he starts stretching it out, and he just, knock on wood, never gets tired.
You don't seem to get tired either.
A lot of coffee, and a lot of thinking, probably overthinking things. But no, we've got a great crew here, and got to thank Paul and Zilla for the opportunity, and we're just enjoying the ride.
As they always do. Doug O'Neill, best of luck.
Thank you.
Doug always gives credit to his team, and he refers to it as Team O'Neill. He doesn't like saying, oh, Doug O'Neill trainer. It's Team O'Neill. He is very much a consensus builder in the barn. He's the leader of the group, but he wants to make sure that everybody in that operation gets credit.
And don't forget, he's won 2 Kentucky Derbies already.
Right.
I mean, he's been here before and knows this road.
And with 2 really nice horses. I'll have another looked like he was going to be a Triple Crown winner until they had to scratch Day of the Belmont. And then Nyquist, he's turned into an excellent sire, but he was a champion 2-year-old and was undefeated through his win in the Derby. His first loss came in the Preakness.
Yep, both for Paul Redham, who owns Pavlovian.
So just a tremendous record, and a very efficient record. He's only had 8 horses in the Derby. He's won 2 of them. That's going to do it for today's show. We only got one more show, one more breakfast tomorrow, Joe.
Oh, I'm going to miss it.
Oh, yeah, you are. We're not going to miss you, but I know you're going to miss it a lot.
See, that's what I'm going to miss, Mike.
Yeah, well, we'll let you know that we've got a handicapper show coming up. That's coming up at noon. It's on the, is it on the show? Is it on the network? The Derby Handicapping show? Yeah, it's on the network. I'm not a part of it. I'm just promoting it. I'm the lead-in, that's all. For Scott, Caton, Andy, for Simon Bray, for Joe Talamo on a booster seat, I'm Mike Joyce. Thanks for joining us at Breakfast at the Derby. We'll be back one more time tomorrow.